Do you know that strange heat in a room when people laugh and you are not sure if the joke is your name? Keep that feeling close, because it will guide you through what happens next. This story may help you notice the signs sooner, and it may give you one brave word when it matters. We begin on a Thursday in Manhattan, in a glass room where confidence is a dress code. A young analyst named Liam steps up with a slide deck that he has checked 3 times. He is careful, he is bright, and he does not know that a small trap waits on slide 14. The decimal on that slide is wrong by just enough to make a sound in the room. It is not loud, but it travels like a secret with good shoes. A soft laugh moves from the front row to the back, and heads tilt the same way. Liam clears his throat, fixes the number, and tries to keep his voice steady. He feels heat on his neck and thinks it is the lights. He does not see the private messages that bloom on screens like fast weeds. He does not see the new nickname that sparks in a side chat. He only hears a manager say that mistakes happen and that next time he will nail it. He nods and breathes and thinks he will be fine. Then the week changes shape in small ways that are easy to miss. A file he updated last night opens with a broken formula, but only when he is the one who opens it. A calendar invite moves by 20 minutes without a trace, and he walks into a room that is already clapping. A deadline shifts by an hour after midnight, and he learns about it in the morning with a smiley face. These are tiny things, and tiny things are easy to explain away. That is how a slow storm begins, quiet and polite. Ava is the star of the team, and she has a voice that can turn a critique into a compliment. Dylan is the top biller, and he can talk a cloud into paying for shade. They both say they believe in coaching, and they both know the weight of that word. Liam wants to improve, and that is the door they need. His nights turn long, and the glow of the laptop becomes a second sun. His coffee tastes like apology. He starts to say sorry for taking up space in hallways. He laughs along to jokes that he does not understand because he hopes they are not about him. On a client call, a shared document fails to load for him and only him. He gives a number from memory, and it is close, but close is not welcome today. Something tightens in his chest when the room goes still for half a second. Dylan smiles and rescues the call with an easy tone, then sends a private message that says they will review process. The word process can cut without a mark. A junior on the team posts a penguin GIF in a private chat, and it lands like a stamp on a passport. In that chat, there is a new label for Liam that sounds like a joke and works like a net. He does not see the chat, and he does not know there is a net. He only knows that his breath is shorter on the subway now. He tells himself that a rough week is not a life, and he is right, but a rough week can be made into a pattern. The pattern builds with small beats that seem harmless when taken alone. A question he could answer on email is asked in a meeting, and the clock is kind to no one. A correction is given with a sugar tone and placed on the table like a mint. A mistake is framed as a learning moment, and that phrase feels like soft sand. He is grateful for help, and he is scared of help at the same time. He wakes at 4 and checks the deck again, and he checks the date, and he checks the date again. His mouth tastes like pennies, and the world is all screens and timers. Maya is on the team too, and she sees what small harm looks like when it repeats. She sends him 2 words that do not seem big, but they change scale when you are drowning.
Yeah, okay.
He says he is fine, and he says thank you, and he closes his eyes at his desk for 5 seconds. In the private chat, a different tone moves, quick and light. There are screenshots with red circles, and there are jokes with dim light. The jokes make the harm look like a game that smart people play. The game is not new, and it has many names, but the rules stay the same. You don't name the cruelty, you name the person, and you do it with a smile. Friday night comes, and so does a rooftop drink where work is not work. Ava toasts to growth, and Dylan toasts to speed. And Liam laughs because it is easier to laugh than to ask what growth costs. He goes home and stares at the ceiling and wonders if he is soft. He tells himself that next week he will outrun the story that seems to be forming around him. The next week begins with a town hall and a gentle joke about decimals. The air is thin in that room, and it stays thin for the rest of the month. In small cycles, the pressure spikes, and then it releases, and then it spikes again. A spreadsheet breaks on his screen, and then IT fixes it, and he feels a brief calm. A client call goes smooth, and then someone forwards an old draft, and the calm is gone. He makes a note to double-check who has edit rights to the shared files. He forgets to eat lunch, and then he eats too fast at 4, and the food sits like a stone. He starts to think of the elevator as the only place where no one expects words from him. On a Tuesday, his mute button fails on a video call, and his tired sigh becomes a clip with a caption. The caption says that he is over it, and the clip travels in a private thread where it is funny. He does not know about the clip, but he feels watched when he walks to the kitchen. The kitchen has bananas and sparkling water and the smell of hand sanitizer. The smell makes him think of hospitals, and he blinks hard, and he gets back to work. Maya sends him another short line at the end of the day.
You are not crazy.
He stares at those words for a long time, and his chest feels less tight for a minute. He writes back that he is tired, and he asks if she has noticed anything odd.
Some jokes are not jokes.
He reads that twice and saves the message by taking a screenshot for himself, as if a future version of him will need proof that he felt seen once. He dreams of clocks with missing numbers, and he wakes with a start, and the sun has not even tried yet. By midweek, he has a list of small errors that do not feel like his errors. He takes the list to HR with a careful tone because he does not want to sound like a problem. HR asks for proof, and he understands why they do, and he has very little. He walks out of that office with a paper smile. He buys a pretzel and throws most of it away because his stomach is a fist. He wonders if there is a book on how to be a person in rooms like these. That night, a building crew tests a new camera and a new mic in a conference room. The room records more than the crew plans, and empty rooms are not always empty. Late that night, Ava and Dylan meet with 2 juniors who want to rise fast. Their voices are even, and their plan is clean, and they call it coaching.
Keep feedback positive, but keep a record.
Nudge him into small slips and act surprised.
We want to help him, right?
Of course we do. And we also need standards.
Document clumsiness, no big gotchas, just patterns.
The mic does not care about tone, and the file does not care about intent. The next morning, Liam is placed on a performance plan that he reads 3 times. The words make sense, and the story they tell does not. He thanks the manager for the chance to improve, and he means it, because he still believes he can beat this by working harder. The manager looks tired and kind for a second, and then the door opens.
We want you to succeed, and this is a structure to help you.
Liam nods and says he appreciates the support, and his tongue feels like paper. He steps into the elevator and meets his own eyes in the mirror, and he does not recognize the person looking back. He has a panic attack in the stairwell and calls it a headache when someone asks. He texts Maya that he is fine, and she knows what that word can hide.
I have timestamps and invites, and something is off.
She sends a small packet to compliance, not to HR, because she understands which desk holds a broom and which desk holds a mirror. Compliance is already busy with a vendor complaint, and the timing is a door that opens. They pull camera tests, they pull access logs, and they pull change histories that humans forget. The pieces begin to fit, slow at first and then quick, like a puzzle that was one piece away the whole time. Liam keeps working while the quiet machine of policy turns. He double-checks numbers, and he learns to count his own breaths. He answers emails late and early, and in his sleep. Maya puts a granola bar on his desk and says nothing. The day that changes everything starts like any other day in a building that smells like ambition and sanitizer. He is called into a small room with a glass wall and a kind chair. A compliance officer sits across from him with a careful face that has practice at careful.
We reviewed some materials, and I want you to hear something.
She presses play, and the room fills with voices that are familiar and far away at the same time. He hears phrases that burned him in small ways over many weeks, and now they wear their true shape. He looks at his hands, and then at the wall, and then at the ceiling, and he breathes in for 4 and out for 6.
We will proceed with a formal investigation, and you will not be alone in this process.
He nods and closes his eyes for 1 second, and for the first time in a month, he feels the weight shift. The company moves, and the tone of the floor changes by a few degrees. Words like culture fit and fast pace lose their shine when they are said next to recordings. HR holds a meeting where doors close softly and stay closed longer than usual. People who spoke with confidence now measure each word like it costs money. 2 juniors ask to speak to compliance and bring small details that add up. Maya is asked how she noticed, and she says she listened to the pauses.
Silence can be loud when you know what it hides.
Liam is offered a transfer, and a new manager, and time with a counselor who understands the body when the mind is tired. He says yes, and his voice shakes, and no one makes a joke about that. The private chat goes quiet, and a few people leave it without a word. Ava takes a leave, and Dylan updates his profile with new buzzwords that say nothing and say everything. The company posts a note about respect that is simple and late is still better than never. Liam sits by a window in a new team space and watches the city act like nothing happened. He learns again how to eat lunch before 3, and he sleeps 4 hours, then 5, then 6. He says no to a meeting that has no agenda, and the world does not end. He thanks Maya and means it with the kind of thanks that stays in a life.
Thank you for seeing me when I did not.
You would have done the same for someone else.
He does not know if that is true yet, but he wants it to be true, and that is a start. Months pass, and the building forgets the sharp edge of the scandal, because buildings always do. People still share jokes, but some of them check who pays the price for the laugh. Not all habits die, and not all harm is gone, but something small and real has shifted. Liam keeps a single line on a sticky note inside his drawer where only he can see it. The line says that a person is not a pattern, and a pattern is not a person. On a Tuesday that feels like weather, he passes a room where someone is new and nervous. He stops and asks if they want water or a chair by the wall where the air is calmer. They say yes and smile in a way that is more relief than joy. He walks back to his desk and feels his shoulders lower by a small but honest amount. You might ask what the moral is, and that is fair, because you gave me your time and your trust. Here is what I think, plain and without shine. A joke can be a small knife when a room is quiet about where it points. Coaching can be a mask when the goal is to make someone trip. Integrity begins when a witness decides to be part of repair instead of part of the crowd. Silence is not neutral when it keeps the wrong person comfortable. And if you ever feel the room heat up in that strange way, look for one person who will meet your eyes without a smirk. If you can be that person for someone else, be that person. If you need that person, ask with a simple line, and let the simple line be enough. You may still wonder about slide 14 and how it changed, so let me share the plain truth. A junior made the edit and thought it was clever, and they felt safe because the group said it was a lesson. The group was wrong, and the junior knows that now, and learning can come with a cost. They apologized, and the apology did not fix the past, but it mended a thread that could have broken for good. Some stories end with cheer, but most end with quiet changes. A new policy, a new habit, a new choice to ask one more question before you laugh. The world looks the same after that, but it is not the same. And that is enough for today. You might still have that first question in your head, and I do too. What do you do when you feel like the joke and you do not know the punchline yet? You breathe, you write down what you can, you ask one safe person, and you hold your ground 1 inch at a time. A room can be cruel, but a room can also stop on a single word. The word can be no, or it can be enough, or it can be stop. Choose the smallest word you can say with a steady voice, and say it once. Then say it again if you need to. And if you are the one who laughs at others to feel safe, I have a question for you too. What do you think that laugh is buying, and what will you owe when the bill comes? Someone paid for that laugh, and it was not you, and that is why it felt cheap. The real thing never needs a victim to taste sweet. Let me take you back for a moment to the stairwell, where Liam named a panic as a headache. He sits there again months later, but now to breathe after a long call that went fine. He knows the steps by feel, and he knows his own breath by sound now. He counts to 4, then 6, then 4, and the world does not wobble. He goes back to his desk and writes 4 numbers that are simple and true, and the room stays calm. He sends the deck and closes the laptop at 6, and he walks out while the city is still bright. On the street, he buys a pretzel and eats the whole thing, and it tastes like a life that belongs to him. He texts Maya a photo of the empty paper bag and a single word that makes them both smile.
Done.
Proud.
That is not a grand ending, and it is a good one. It is the kind of ending that lasts. Before we close, I want to give you a few tight beats to keep in your pocket. If your name becomes a joke that you did not agree to, this is harm, not culture. If help comes with shifting rules, this is control, not coaching. If your body whispers trouble and your mind calls it silly, believe your body first. And if you stand outside a room and feel a person breaking, you can be Maya with 8 simple words. You can say that you see them, and that they are not crazy, and that they are not alone. You can do that today, and it will cost you less than you think. We tell this story not to shame, but to show the shape of a trap that hides in plain sight. We tell it to make you sharper and kinder at the same time. We tell it because small power used with care can change a floor, and a floor can change a building. And a building is where many of us live half our lives. I am glad you stayed with me this far, and I want to leave you with one clear picture. A conference room that once felt like a stage now feels like a table where people share work. The air still hums, but it does not sting. The jokes still fly, but they do not aim at one person to make the rest feel safe. That is the line between fun and harm, and now you can see it too. If you have your own version of slide 14, I hope this helps you fix it and keep walking. If you have your own version of the private chat, I hope this helps you leave it without a word. And if you are the person who will be Maya for someone tomorrow, I hope this gives you the nudge you needed. Here is the plain lesson, with no perfume on it. Cruelty often sounds like feedback, and decency often sounds like a small offer of help. Choose decency when the room is watching, because the room learns from what it claps for. That is our fable for today, and I am grateful you listened. Thank you for staying with the story until the end, and thank you for giving your attention to something quiet and true. If this spoke to you, please tap like, hit subscribe, and tell me your thoughts in the comments, because your stories guide the next one. If you want to support the channel, you can use the QR code at the bottom right or the link in the video description, and every bit helps us make more. In the description, You will also find links to other series that are completely different, and I think you will enjoy the range. Take care of your breath, take care of your boundaries, and meet me in the next story soon.